If you've never bought a home before, the entire process can seem overwhelming. A lot of people know they want to own a home someday, but they're not sure where to start. They hear terms like pre-approval, earnest money, inspections, appraisals, title companies, and closing day, and it can feel like there's 100 things to learn before they can even begin. But the reality is that buying a home is a process. You don't have to learn everything at once. You simply take one step, then the next, and before long, you're holding the keys to your new home. So today, I want to walk you through this home buying process from start to finish and explain what happens along the way. The first step is meeting with a realtor. One of the biggest misconceptions I see is people thinking they need to have everything figured out before they can even talk to an agent. That's usually not the case. A buyer consultation is simply a conversation. It's an opportunity to discuss your goals, your timeline, your budget, and what you're hoping to find in a home. It's also your chance to ask questions and better understand what the process will look like for your situation. You don't need to be ready to buy next week. You don't need to even know every step. You simply need a place to start. The next step is getting pre-approved. A pre-approval is when a lender reviews your financial situation and helps determine what price range you may qualify for. They'll typically review things like your income, debt, savings, employment, history, and credit. The purpose isn't to judge you, it's to help determine what loan options may be available and what price range makes sense for your situation. Pre-approval is important because it helps you shop within the right budget and gives sellers confidence that you're financially prepared to make an offer. Once you're pre-approved, it's time to start looking at homes. This is usually the fun part. Your realtor can set up a search so that you can begin reviewing homes that match your criteria and price range. As you tour homes, you'll probably notice something interesting. Many buyers begin the process thinking they know exactly what they want. Then, after seeing a few homes, their priorities start to change. Sometimes layout becomes more important than the square footage. Sometimes neighborhood becomes more important than having an extra bedroom. And sometimes things that seemed important online don't really matter as much in person. Touring homes helps buyers figure out what truly matters most to them. Eventually, you'll find a home that feels like a great fit. That's when it's time to make an offer. A lot of people think an offer is simply the price you're willing to pay, but an offer actually includes much more than that. It may include things like earnest money, financial terms, a preferred closing date, inspection contingencies, appraisal contingencies, and other details depending on the property and the situation. And if the seller doesn't accept your offer immediately, that's okay. There may be a counteroffer, you may negotiate, or ask for different terms. Those are normal parts of the process. Once your offer is accepted, you move into what's often called the contract to close period. This is where a lot of important work happens behind the scenes. Inspections may be scheduled. The lender continues working on your loan. The appraisal may be ordered. The title company begins preparing documents for closing. At this stage, you'll also typically provide earnest money. Earnest money is a good faith deposit that shows the seller you're serious about purchasing the home. For most buyers, this is the moment when the process starts to feel very real. One of the major steps is the home inspection. A home inspection gives you an opportunity to have a professional evaluate the property before moving forward. The inspector may review major components such as the roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical system, and HVAC. One thing I always remind buyers is that the goal isn't to find the perfect house. Almost every home will have something on the inspection report. The purpose is to understand the condition of the property so you can make informed decisions moving forward. Depending on what's discovered, you may move forward as is, negotiate repairs, request credits, or potentially reconsider the purchase. Around the same time, the lender will often order an appraisal. Many buyers confuse inspections and appraisals, but they're actually very different. The inspection focuses on the condition of the home. The appraisal focuses on the value of the home. I like to explain it this way. The inspection asks, what condition is the home in? The appraisal asks, is the house worth what we're paying for it? Both are important, but they serve different purposes. As you get closer to closing, the lender continues reviewing your file. A lot more has happened behind the scenes than most buyers will realize. Documents are being reviewed. Employment and income are being verified. Requirements are being checked. And sometimes the lender may ask for additional documentation. That is normal. One thing buyers should be careful about during this stage is making major financial changes. Avoid opening new credit cards. Avoid financing furniture. Avoid buying a vehicle. Avoid large unexplained deposits or major financial moves without discussing them with your lender. The goal is to keep your financial situation stable until after closing. Shortly before closing, you'll complete your final walkthrough. This is your opportunity to verify that the home is in the condition you expect and any agreed upon repairs have been completed. It's essentially your last look at the property before ownership transfers. Then comes closing day. Closing day is when everything officially comes together. You'll sign the documents, provide any remaining funds needed to close, and complete the final steps necessary to transfer ownership. For many buyers, closing day is exciting, relieving, and sometimes even a little surreal. After all of the searching, paperwork, inspections, negotiations, and waiting, you're finally a homeowner. And for most people, getting the keys is still the best part. One of the biggest misconceptions about buying a house is that you need to have everything figured out before you begin. You don't. Buying a home is a process. You learn as you go. You ask questions. You work with professionals who help guide you through each step. And before long, something that once felt overwhelming starts to feel much more manageable. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.